What's good, guys? Welcome back to another video. Last Friday's fall ended up being absolute perfection. We called the dump, and the dump indeed happened. This was going a little bit against the system, but ended up being the correct read. So that makes it 92 wins out of the last 150 calls that I made publicly here on YouTube. Anyways, today's video, we're going to try to replicate that success, and yeah, I'll just try to get in the win. This week is going to be very interesting, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin incidents from like the swing trading perspective, when is sports season likely to continue, and when this retracement period is going to end, basically. Now, just a side note before I get into the video, our editor is currently on a flight, so this video is also going to be unedited, like last Friday. I'm going to do it all in one take, and yeah, stick around and let's get into it. So, starting things off on the weekly chart, we had a bearish weekly close. Unfortunately, it was not bullish. Would have hoped that it was bullish, so that we can just continue all season and continue this new Bitcoin all-time high mania season. Unfortunately, with that last week's weekly close, we are now targeting this level right here at 112,600. At least from the weekly chart, right? This is purely for the weekly chart. It can still change. But the fact of the matter is that without that weekly close above this high right here at 119,400, which is the exact level that we were talking about last week. Because we didn't close above this, this is not yet validated as a potential bullish clock for the weekly chart, which means there's not clear signs that things are going to take off yet. And so we can expect a further retracement either to this level right here or this level right here, which it makes sense because this is the 58 together. This fall too. So in the event that you come all the way down slow, it's 112,000. We're just a tiny bit below $100,000, we're actually still all good. But a larger picture, this is a bullish short clock that price could retrace to. And so, technically speaking, like TLDR, as long as you do not break below $98,000, it's still all good. There are two potential boxes support that they want to find. And right now, we just got to play patient. Don't expect things to just naturally stop popping up. And most importantly, it's do not try to catch falling highs. A lot of you who are watching my videos may be brand new into crypto. Maybe this is your first year. Maybe this is your first bull market. The key thing that you need to understand about crypto is, in fact, this goes back to one of my favorite sayings of all time when it comes to trading, which is top pickers and bottom pickers. Top pickers and bottom pickers usually end up becoming bottom pickers. The meaning behind that sentence is that you try to catch the top, try to catch the bottom, you're going to lose so much that you're eventually going to lose so much money that you need to end up going to pay profit at living. And this is the current scenario that we're facing at the moment, where I've seen a lot of people just, oh yeah, let's hope it's Solana. This is a support level, whatever. And then without confirmation in the markets, they just start buying Solana, gets up. And you wonder why you're losing money, wonder why you're unrealized and losses, you regret it. Because you're not applying any sort of system to it. The fact of the matter is that the only ones that are going to succeed in a bull market are the ones that have a systematic approach, not taking trades by random or not making decisions by random. And right now, we are very much in the middle of an off-season. We'd like to set up a system in the next 30 days that will help get you from where you are, which is, I guess, get consistent, to consistent, and to at least make something out of this bull market. Feel free to click the first link in the description box below. That's how to bootcamp. We're about to start off that. So you can get this great work one-on-one. And I help you set up the system that has allowed me to basically be right like the last 50 calls that I made here on YouTube. Anyways, going into the video, now that we understand what's going on the weekly chart, we are just, in some kind of a retracement period. So let's get into the daily chart. And in terms of the daily chart, you're also working with big bearish daily buys at the moment. And it seems that price is very much heading towards settlements at the moment. So the daily buys is going to be bearish, and that's what we're going to be trading with. Now, some of you may see that, oh yeah, there's a bullish order block right here, or there's some kind of support that's going on, some kind of bullish revenue gap, whatever. Here's another thing that you need to understand about the markets. As long as price is a bearish order flow, or let me put it this way. Every move in the market happens for a reason. If you're pumping, there is some kind of objective that you're trying to achieve. There's also some kind of objective that you're trying to achieve. Namely, when you're pumping, you are taking out buy-side liquidity. dumping, you're trying to take out sell side liquidity. Now, buy side liquidity is simply anyone who is placing there. Anyone who went short basically that has their stop loss placed like this. The second type party that is very common above buy side liquidity is the breakout traders. People that are like, oh yeah, Bitcoin just broke a new all-time high. Let's say it's a good idea to go long here, right? The breakout traders, so like vice versa. When price breaks resistance, there will be people out there that will be like, oh yeah, support level has been broken. Let's go short bit. And that's like the most backward kind of logic ever. And honestly, it's something that only retail traders are able to come up with, because I'm sure it doesn't take a genius to understand that the way you make money in the markets is by buying low and selling high, not by buying high and selling low. So you can start to see how breakout trading is not necessarily impossible to make profits with, but like it's a little less likely, right? Purely due to that logic. But anyways, right now, the fact that we are dumping right now means that we are heading towards kind of sell-side liquidity objective. Okay, and so that level is going to be just similarly to the weekly chart. We are heading towards this level right here at 112,000 basically. And so I do think that the weekly objective is going to be towards this level right here, and then the potential for price to bounce right here or hit, right? And you're seeing how I'm applying the 500 to as kind of like a guide to grind top-down analysis, as other people would say. And you'll see how this is able to get me so much more clarity into the trades that I am making. And speaking of which, if you guys haven't already followed me on Twitter, like do so, because like, for example, I'm saying like price is either going to dump at this level or this level right here. And if you would like just more frequent updates from me outside of these YouTube videos, then yeah, underscore the art of crypto is where I'm posting trade ideas, not just on crypto, but also just Forex, traditional finance, and even stuff outside of Bitcoin. So sorry about that. Anyways, going down to the 1 hour chart, the setup for today is going to be pretty clear in the sense that because the daily bias is bearish, the weekly bias is bearish, we're going to be looking for shorts. And it also just so happens that 1 hourly order flow is also bearish. This was the first stage of delivery. After that, we retraced a bit, and we formed a new low, retraced back into this blue box right here, which is the very short blow, and failed to break above it. In fact, you break lower, and we form a new low. So clearly, prices are very short flow, and we try to follow the trend each and every time. That's the famous saying goes, trend is your friend. It's not being pulled out of anyone's horse, because this is true. Like, the more you can trade with the trend, the more money you're going to make with less headache. Like, just try to see for a moment, like, if you were to go counter trend, and these are the magnitude of the movement of up moves. This is the down. Up moves take much longer to happen. The magnitude isn't as big. Down moves, explosive, boom, explosive. And meanwhile, you have up moves that are like slow, choppy, very uncertain, and really tough to trade in general. This is just a prime example of trading with a trend at play. But anyways, taking a look at 1 hour chart, we have two big levels that you're going to want to see. Price getting rejected over. And the very moment that I'm recording this video, price is already getting falling, that number already. And so the setup of today is going to be straightforward. Sometime between the hours of like 7 to 10 a.m., which is basically just a your payout session. You want to just limit the trade, things lower. Now, price could retrace all the way up here before going down. Price could also shoot out these highs right here at 115,700. Basically filling it this memory gap, sweeping out this high before going lower. Although if I had to put my money somewhere, I would say this block right here, because potentially if you break through this block right here and you sweep out this liquidity, you're going to basically invalidate this event short block. And that's ideally not something you want to see when you're going short. So just to translate this over to the lower time frames, let's see, like this is already a new kind of resistance area, right? Just a higher block of price right here is already resistance. For those of you who understand anything about volume profiling, you know that this is a value area. And the thing about value area is that this resistance, right, once you break below it. Now, some would argue that once you break below the value area, this is actually known as a discount, then you ideally want to go long to take a value area high. Hence why I mentioned earlier that there is a potential that it could come all the way up here before going lower. But based on how price is currently shaped up at the moment, I think you just want to retrace it to this higher block right here, and it start taking short. The way you would want to prioritize, or rather think about these shorts, is that Monday today, with the absolutely be ready. Take a look here. And I've already made a tweet about this anyway. Monday, there is absolutely no news. Tomorrow, there is no USD news. On Wednesday, you have USD news that is coming late in the day, which means we're currently having a very heavy news week. Now, the way this is going to apply for you is that the first couple of days, maybe even 3 days of the week, are going to be a little bit more manipulated, a little bit more choppy, until we get to basically the end of Wednesday, or like in the middle of Wednesday during the noon session. That is when true explosive news are going to happen. Now, either that is going to be an explosive dump, or maybe we have already reached the sell side objective prior to Wednesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be like an explosive V-shaped recovery. I do not yet know what is going to happen, but I can at least be betting on some scenarios as to what to expect. And in terms of news, again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, Friday is going to be interesting actually, because the Jackson Hole Symposium is, let's just say, I think it's a once every year kind of thing, where all of the central bankers in the world, they gather together in this place called Jackson Hole in the US. This is hosted by the US Federal Reserve, that they're going to gather, just make evil plans, just like the evil masterminds that they are. So something to look for. So essentially today, the reason why I bring this up is because, like, without news, there's been so many instances, especially on the channel, where the technical analysis makes sense, right? Everything in terms of the PA perspective was lining up. But because it was a non-news day, prices ended up, kind of chopping around, and it validating some of our ideas. And in general, it's just not as high probability or as clean as a news day. And that's why ideally, when it comes to trading, we want to focus all of our attention, or at least most of our attention, at capital into trading on news days. Today is not one of those days. So if possible, if stay out of the markets, but at the very moment, I do see a valid setup. So I'm going to be taking this if it happens. But like, just understand that today is not news day, and like potentially you may want to go to it as usual. But like, if you usually take 1%, today's more of like a 0.75 or maybe 1% trade kind of day. But either way, I hope this gives you a very clear idea of what to expect today. Just understand that I could be totally wrong. The last thing that we want to pay attention to is that once you get, once you retrace it to X levels, like from here, you can just totally take short, but right here, like just time to, but if you end up going all the way up here, you want to make sure that before you jump into a short, you want to see a change in state of delivery. Because actually, the way I'm going to pick this out is that in order to get to this level right here, you're going to overcome this resistance. And so technically, this is a very bullish sign, which means that until you get a bearish change in state of delivery, if you get to this point, you do not want to be going short, because that can just literally mean that prices want to go bullish instead. Okay, that's the only thing you want to keep in mind. Otherwise, guys, I think the editor will be back home. All right, so bear with me. Let me know in the comment section, by the way, if you're watching at this point, if you enjoy these types of like unedited videos, or if you prefer just a little bit more polish, but I don't know. I'm genuinely curious about it. But anyways, see you tomorrow.